What's going on, crew? Shout out to my community, man. These guys try to warn me tonight. I didn't take the warning and I'm paying for it, okay? The one thing that kept me out the money tonight is Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson only gave me 12.5. And the last comment before I ended the live stream, I had Laverne in, but because I had so much money, I didn't want to just leave money behind. So I took Laverne out and put Taj Gibson. If I left Laverne in, I would have been in the money tonight. And the last comment that one guy said was, Taj Gibson can get you 10. What are you doing? And I was hard headed. I said, no, I like Gibson. That's it. And then Gibson was my downfall. Between Gibson and Oladipo, that was it. Everybody else hit value. All right. I did call that 50 bomb from Vucevic. Gobert, second highest besides. It was pretty much even. He's tied for the highest for with that guy Antetokounmpo. Antetokounmpo had one of those rare games where he go off. So you know it's going to be a while before he does that again. But for the most part, I don't have my head down like I did last night because I'm 263. I'm okay with that, knowing that my community try to steer me away from Taj Gibson. I love you guys, man. Everybody that watches my video who comes to the live show and contribute, love you guys, man. And your input is valuable. Other people that I mentioned that I liked today was Cantor. He did well. I mentioned I like Cantor. And Mirotic is someone that I could have seen myself playing. If I was home all day instead of being out and I was able to sit down and analyze, I would have realized that Mirotic has been pretty consistent for one. And then for two, he would have assumed a lot of the big man role with no Lopez. So Mirotic is someone that should have been a no-brainer. It's just with the last trying to pick a lineup and make adjustments in 15 minutes didn't really work for me. But I did say that Tim Hardaway is gonna have a bounce back game. I said that on my live stream and it came through. Kyrie Irving 42 is better than Rondo and Oladipo put together. I could have took both of those guys out, had Kyrie Irving, and had a cheaper two guard instead of Butler. But it comes with it. It comes with the territory here. Oh, look at this. Kenneth Fareed had 33 fantasy points today. I've been waiting for that guy to do that. He just did it when I don't play him. It's just crazy. The guys that I love, that I play on a consistent basis, goes off once I just stay away from them, okay? Barton had 33. Laverne, man, he did well tonight. Cody Zeller's hot. It's pretty consistent. Deron Williams had a good game. Olenek has been pretty consistent. Zipser did well. See, so I could have had Zipser as my two guard, Kyrie as my point guard, and like Mirotic instead of Gibson. I would have been better off, you know. Shout out to Tim Hess. Tim Hess should have won money today from the lineup that he posted. It looks like Tim Hess did very well because those guys that he had did well. Just shout out to all those guys. So I gave good advice. I just played the wrong lineup. One guy. I should have kept Laverne and took the loss. I'm gonna probably be okay leaving some money on the table if I feel confident enough in my lineup, but that's no excuse. I'm just gonna get into tonight's slate. Phoenix versus Brooklyn. Jeremy Lin is probable. Joe Harris and Kilpatrick are going to remain out. Allen Williams, we don't know what's going on with him. I think these guys are anti-fantasy sports because the guy didn't even travel with the team, and no one in the front office could have just said something to give fantasy players heads up. A lot of people played him, and it sucks because this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. A lot of people, it's like Vegas. You know what I mean? Even Vegas. I'm thinking Vegas should be upset too because they're involved in sports betting, and that made a difference, you know. But anyway, we don't know what's going on with him. Let's start on the Brooklyn side of the ball. If Lynn plays, I can consider him. He needs 30s. He's outside of the game when he got hurt. He's been 30, 36, 37, 33, 33, 30, 25, 30. So he's good for 5 to 6 times value, and it is a ideal matchup for him. So he's someone I'm going to pull over and consider if he does play. And to see what's going on with Lynn, he's listed as questionable. The coach is hopeful that he will return on Thursday. Um, a final word will be available after the morning shoot around. So let's wait to see what happened with Jeremy Lin. And not really interested in his backup. The coach did promise Dinwiddie a backup spot, but with Lin playing, I don't think Dinwiddie is worth it. I'm not gonna chase that good game that he just had if Lin plays. And even if Lin doesn't play, 5K for Dinwiddie just doesn't appeal to me. When he was 3K, you guys were telling me to take him, and I didn't take him. I'm not gonna take him at 5K. Um, Randy Foy still consistent, but the extra $700 kind of worries me. We know that he'll get you anywhere from 15 to 20, but now we need low to mid 20s, and I don't think Foy is guaranteed. Someone that's very interesting that people may not know that Archie Goodwin played for the Suns last year, and the Nets want to give him a little extra run to see if he's worth considering to bring back next season, I guess. So if he gets good minutes and get a chance to put up a revenge game, he's in a good spot. It's just that the Nets backcourt is so crowded. I don't know if I could pick on any of these guys. I do like Lynn because of his price, his consistency, and his assertiveness on that team. I don't think they'll touch Lynn. And then Levert, Quincy AC have been up and down. Levert will give you 22, then 12, 15, then 21. For 4K, I don't want that. Quincy AC needs about 20 to make me happy. In the last two, 14 and 15. So KJ McDaniels for the minimum. If they give him the run, maybe against this up pace matchup, if it turns into a blowout or whatever have you. But I don't like the sound of that for KJ McDaniels. Someone that's very interesting to me. Trevor Booker, by the way, he has not been playing much minutes and he won't. He's one of the veterans, the older guys on the team. The team is not going anywhere. There's no reason to really get this guy hurt for no reason. So he's playing minutes in the teens, and for that, I'm not interested. But Richard Hollis Jefferson, this is a team that he can really eat against. All right. The last time he played them, 30 minutes, he put up 46 fantasy points. His last three games, 18, 19, 11. So although I think he'll be successful, he's not selling himself onto me. So I'm gonna use caution with him. Brook Lopez, super consistent. He's averaging 37 in the last 10 games. That's what we need. This is a good matchup. In 27 minutes against this team, he put up 31, 40, 35, 39, 37. For 6.9K, definitely got to consider some Brook Lopez for tomorrow. All right. And then his backup, Justin Hamilton, not worth considering. He'll get you 14, 6 fantasy points. On the Phoenix side of the ball, a 7K rookie in Tyler Ulis does not appeal to me. I know this is a good matchup for him, and this is one that he should do well. But he's 7K and he's a rookie. I'm not into that. I'm not messing around with him. He just played Miami in 42 minutes. He put up 21 against good. All right, so Detroit he put up 43, and that's a good matchup. 36-41. So he's been consistent in upper 30s and 40s, but I'm not paying 7K for Tyler Ulis. I think there's better options tonight. Devin Booker's been going through something. He's shooting the ball very poor as of late. 4 for 16, 3 for 13, 6 for 26. So 22, 22, and 26 have been his last three games. The Nets is a team to bounce back against. We just saw Tobias Harris bounce back against them, but I'm going to stay away from Booker tomorrow. I don't like to pay up on my shooting guards unless I'm really, really confident. TJ Warren needs 40s. I think this is another good situation for him. In 33 minutes, he's put up 32 fantasy points. Just to expect 40 from him is tough. That might be his ceiling. That's the highest scoring game he's had is like 43, 44. That's just 6 times value. So I'm not really going to get to TJ Warren as well. Marquise Chris needs mid 30s. His last couple games 34, 26, 30, 42. I'm not going to consider him either. The Suns can give you 2 players on any given night that will go off. All right. TJ Warren, Marquise Chris, Devin Booker, Tyler Ulis. So I'm not going to throw my fishing rod out and just hope that I get the right one. All right. Alex Len, I will pretty much lock in tomorrow if Allen Williams does not play. If Alex Len, if you look at his last couple games, he's a point per minute for sure, right? 36 minutes, 33 points. 21 minutes, 21 fantasy points. 28 minutes, 33 fantasy points. 17 minutes, 19 fantasy points. So Alex Len is someone that if I know he's going to get 30 minutes in a good matchup, and this team, he played 29 minutes, he put up 28. So if he's going to get me 29 minutes and he give me 28 tomorrow, I'm happy with that. That's 6 times value. So definitely looking at some Alex Len. I'm going to pull him over as well. But only if Allen Williams is ruled out. And Allen Williams is a mystery. I guess we'll know earlier tomorrow because the commissioner has been coming down on these teams to report injuries ahead of time to the media and to the NBA. Miami versus Toronto. We know that Ibaka is suspended and Whiteside. Now, if Whiteside didn't cut his hand, he would be like a lock for me tomorrow. Okay, but he got 13 stitches in his hands. I don't know how aggressive he's going to be on the boards and dunking and getting into the game. So this is a perfect matchup, man. It's like a fantasy dream come true. 35 minutes, he put up 45 fantasy points, and that's in 2 games this season against this team, okay? He's hot right now. He just had 52, 40, 48, 46. If he could give me one of those games tomorrow, I'd be happy. But he got 13 stitches in his hands, not in his shoulders or his elbow, but his hand that he needs. Not sure about Whiteside. I'm gonna fade Whiteside because he has a hand injury, and even if he does play, he's probable, and he says that he wants to play. I don't know how assertive he's gonna be able to be with his hand injury. Goran Dragic is going through something right now. He's shooting the ball poor. 6 for 15, 6 for 22. In 2 good matchups, Phoenix and Portland. He's only putting up 27 and 32. So I'm gonna back off of Dragic, and as soon as I back off of him, that's when he's gonna go off and have a good game. I feel it. It's like this time of the year, same thing last year. When it came to like the last month of the season, things got a little bit shaky, but I kind of messed around with the lineups, and I kind of like the lineup for tomorrow, the way that I kind of saw it. I'm just gonna break down the slate and see if it's similar to what I predicted, and then let's see where we get. But Goran Dragic, I'm just staying away from. He's cold right now. Tyler Johnson is heating up. He needs mid 30s. Don't chase that 40-point game. He comes off the bench for 6K. He can get you 23, 33, 30. So he's pretty safe for 5 times value most nights. Sometimes he gets you 11. So I don't know which Tyler Johnson I'm going to get. I'm going to stay away from both Johnson brothers off the bench tomorrow. Josh Richardson just got a bunch of minutes and did nothing with it. So I don't get it, right? So he was $4,600. He played 33 minutes. He only put up 18 fantasy points. So they raised his price $200, right? He paid 36 minutes. He put up 22 fantasy points. Now they raised his price $200 more. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not playing 5K for a Josh Richardson tomorrow. Small forward, Wayne Ellington. He's about mid 20s. His last 2 games, 18 and 16. So he doesn't make the cut for me. Power forward James Johnson off the bench. I just can't get to it, and I'm not messing with any of these. They have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 power forwards on that team. Whiteside, I kind of spoke about. I want him. Man, I just wish he didn't cut his hand. He would be in my lineup 100%. But with a cut hand, I'm very, very afraid of Hassan Whiteside tomorrow. On the Toronto side of the ball, Corey Joseph has been doing okay. He's just not consistent, and he doesn't have the upside that I want. 24, 32, 27, 26. 2 all over the place. I need 30 from him. DeRozan is interesting. He needs about 50. He just put up 66. But that was a favorable matchup in the Bulls, right? Zipser, I don't know who started at 2 guard. Was it Zipser or Valentine or whatever? But those are nobody that can stop him. And it was on national TV, and he put on a show. But I think he gets back into these numbers. He's been 30, 32, 28. Don't chase that one game. I wouldn't. All right. I'm going to stay away from DeRozan and a tough defense. I'm going to stay away from him. He only does well. If we look at DeRozan, he does well, very well in good matchups. Chicago, Indiana was a blowout. They had that game. But even before the blowout, he was doing well. He's the one that carried them. Atlanta, he did well. These are teams that he should do well against. But the tougher matchups, he kind of struggles. So I'm going to be careful. Small forward, PJ Tucker, I'm going to pull over. when he gets minutes, he does well. We see him get 33 minutes because Ibaka went out. That's who they turn to. So I think they're gonna turn to him again. He'll get power forward minutes instead of small forward minutes, which makes me think he'll get more rebounds tomorrow. So he only scored 8 points that last game, but because of 12 rebounds, he hit 4 times value. He's in the 3,000. He's almost the bare minimum. He's gonna get 30 minutes. You cannot ignore PJ Tucker. I think he might be a little bit of chalk, but I'm gonna um get in some of that PJ Tucker chalk, and that might be the only Raptors I'm interested in. P. Patterson, he's up and down, man. And for the same price as Tucker, I trust Tucker more. The team will trust Tucker more. Patterson will play 23 minutes, get you 20 fantasy points. If he gets me 20, that's decent. That's 6 times value. But I think Tucker can do that plus more. So I'm gonna hold on to Tucker, and I'm gonna not. Yeah, Nogi area has been out the rotation with Tucker there. I don't know how much they're gonna get to him. Even when Serge went out, they still didn't give him a minute. So I'll be very careful with him. And Valanciunas, of course, is gonna be going up against a Whiteside. I think honestly, I think Whiteside tries to play and then he aggravates his. I don't know why the guy wants to play so bad with 13 stitches in his hands. You know what I mean? This is NBA level basketball. These guys are aggressive, very quick, very. I just don't get it. It's kind of weird to me, but I'm gonna hold off on Valanciunas. I like to be very particular. If you don't notice, most nights my centers will go off because I take my time and pay up and really make sure I get quality centers. I think center position is almost guaranteed to carry a team. That's the backbone of my team. I like to pick two centers and I make sure that I pick strong ones in good matchups. And this is just not a good matchup for Valanciunas. Now he's played 2 games against this team and he showed that he could put up 24 a point per minute in 24 minutes against this team. He's averaging 23.6 fantasy points. I think he'll get 30 minutes with Ibaka out. Maybe not. They like the Poetel guy, whatever his name is, Podul. Podul been getting a lot of run lately. He's been doing well with it. He's a point per minute almost as well. And I watch him play. Man, the guy is a hustler. So he might get into some of Valanciunas' time. They might just go with Patterson and Tucker as the power forward. It's just hard to tell. I can't believe Fareed put up 30 something points today. That's crazy. I'm looking at the highlights as I make the video and I'm like, wow, this is a guy I've been waiting to go off, and when I don't play him, he goes off. So anyway, back to the slate. I just don't trust Valanciunas and I'm off of that game, all right? Clippers versus Dallas. Seth Curry is questionable, but it's looking like he's more probable. I'm gonna start speaking about him first. So Seth Curry, he fell on his shoulder, and they're listing it only as a sore shoulder. And they think with a couple days treatment that he should have a speedy return and come back tomorrow. So, um, not gonna pick on Steph Curry, but someone that I do like a lot in this game is JJ Barea. I'm gonna go ahead and put him over. And to look at Barea against Golden State, he really didn't do too well. He only had 15.75 fantasy points. But before that, in limited minutes, he's been putting up over a point per minute. 27 minutes, 35. In a good matchup in Brooklyn, I get it. In Philly, a point per minute. Washington, 20 minutes, 28. The guy's explosive. He can get you assists, points, steals. Um, he's a little guy, so I don't think he's going to get a lot of rebounds against the Clippers, but he doesn't need it. Love him. He's my favorite play under 5K tomorrow, JJ Barea. I think they might even start him now that they're desperate for that playoff run. They need to get rid of that Yogi Ferrell guy, man. The guy really sucks. His price, he's actually cheaper than Barea right now. So that says something. Barea is a good look. His stock is on the rise, and I'm definitely gonna pick on some Barea tomorrow. Um, Shooting guard Wesley Matthews seems to be getting healthier, but he still hasn't hit 30, and we need 30 from him, so I'm gonna stay away. Devin Harris for the minimum. If Seth Curry sits, I might consider just paying all the way down for some Devin Harris tomorrow. Not quite sure yet. Small forward Harrison Barnes needs mid 30s. He just had 15 against Golden State. All right, and 29 before that, 13 before that. He's a defender. He's there for defense. Don't really mess with Harrison Barnes for fantasy points. Dirk Nowitzki needs mid 30s. He's pretty good for it, right? Um, 29, 35, 12, 30. So he's not quite hitting 6 point value consistently. In 2 games, averaging 17 minutes against his teams, put up 20 fantasy points. I mean, I'll consider him for now, and I'll pull him over, but I'm not super excited about him. I think he's a safe floor kind of guy. He'll get me, I can't even say 5 times because he can land you in the 20s any given night, and I'm not really excited about 20 something from a 6K player. And then Nerlens Noel's not getting the minutes coming off the bench. We need mid to upper 20s. He's giving me 23, 10, 23, 18. So I'm not going to get there. The Clippers side of the ball has a couple of people that I really like tomorrow, okay? Um, I like Chris Paul tomorrow. We need anything in the. It really needs about upper 40s to low 50s to hit value. In one game against his team, he only played 25 minutes and he hit 36.8. I think if he plays 35, he can get into the 40s tomorrow. He hasn't quite hit the 50s, and I don't know if 50s. Yeah, he's had 55. The thing about him, man, he is so consistent in the 40s. Out of the last 10 games, 40 and above, one, two, three, four, five, 6 times, and then a 35. So I like Chris Paul for tomorrow. I think this is going to be a closer game than he's had recently. I think recently, even with the blowouts, they blew out LA because of Chris Paul. They blew out New York because of Chris Paul. They blew out Cleveland. And Chris Paul didn't have to do anything in that game. And that's when they rested all the big guys and the team just carried on. Denver, they lost, but Chris Paul made 43. So Utah in a tough matchup, he went off for 55. Um, I like Chris Paul tomorrow. I think I can get to some Chris Paul. They're saying that I can't afford him. I would take out Jeremy Lin for Chris Paul. Let's see. What I'm gonna do, because we don't know Allen Williams' status, I'm gonna take out Alex Len and get Chris Paul. All right. Shooting guard. JJ Redick needs mid to upper 20s. He's averaging 25 over the last 10 games. That already makes me interested. 30, 23, 21, 35. So even if I get 5 times value as a floor, that's decent. 23, 20, 22. So Redick for only 4,600 is almost a must play. I like to go value for my shooting guards. He's showing me consistency. He fits my program completely for shooting guard tomorrow. And I don't think I can get rid of Redick. All right. Um, Felton and Bahamute. Bahamute for the bare minimum. He can get you 5 or 14, 6 or 18. Not interested in that. And then Blake Griffin, he's mid 40s. He's averaging 34 over the last 10 against his team. He played 26 minutes. He put up 32 fantasy points. So his game log is 26, 45, 39, 32, 27. I can get to Chris Paul, but I don't know if I can get to Blake Griffin tomorrow. And then DeAndre Jordan, I will definitely get to tomorrow. I'm not gonna get rid of Brook yet. Chris Paul, I love. Barea, I love. I think Lynn has fell out. I like Lynn, man, but Lynn doesn't really have that 40-point upside that I need. I think he'll settle in the mid 30s, and that's cool and all. But I'm gonna put Chris Paul where I have Lynn, right? And then I'm gonna pick on some DeAndre Jordan now. DeAndre Jordan for 6.7K. I think they're looking at Dallas in the DVP, but in 29 minutes, 2 games averaging 29 minutes, he's averaging 32.4. Would I be mad with 32.4? No. That's 5 times value. I really look for 6, but 5 times wouldn't kill me. But look at his game log. He's playing 23 minutes, putting up 32 points. And these are blowouts, right? 28 minutes, 34. I think he gets in the 30s. And every time he gets in the 30s, he's been like 50s. So he got 50-point upside for 6.7K. I don't think the Mavericks can give certain centers a problem, but this guy is a monster. And then he has the mastermind of Chris Paul behind him. And with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin being so good, defensive have to tune into all 3 of them. And then the beneficiary is DeAndre Jordan on the lobs, because when Blake Griffin plays like the mid-range periphery, he pulls the power forward out. And who's the fool? Who's the center that starts for Dallas? There's no way Dirk Nowitzki is doing anything against DeAndre Jordan. I just don't believe it. Love DeAndre Jordan for tomorrow. People might not pick on him because he's in the worst matchup, and he will perform, man. I'm telling you, If you want a low owned guy that's gonna give you 50 points tomorrow, you know that I'm very particular about my centers. I think DeAndre Jordan is the way to go. Okay, um, and that's it for the slate. Yep. San Antonio versus Memphis. David Lee is questionable. DeJounte Murray remains out. On the Memphis side of the ball, Conley just went off against this team. They played about 2 games ago. And Conley put up 42 points. 42 is what we need, low to mid 40s. Um, he just disappointed me and put up 28. What did he need? What did he do wrong that game though? Right? His assist numbers were down, and his scoring was a little down. Conley's not a bad pick. It's just that with my point guards and Paul and Berea, I think I got more value from Paul and Berea than Conley. If must be, I wouldn't mind taking out Paul and putting in Conley if I get like a value that I just can't resist. But as of right now, I don't see any reason to do that. Tony Allen is listed as questionable. If Tony Allen sits, then Ginobili becomes a good value for tomorrow. James Ennis for the minimum. He sucks. I'm not doing that. Vince Carter needs about mid 20s, low to mid 20s. He's been at 18, 23, and 9. So be careful with Vince. Zach Randolph off the bench. I'm not interested. Jamichael starts, but as a starter, he does nothing. 18, 21. We need mid to low 20s from him. He had a flash 38.5 game, but the one before that, 17, 15. You don't want to roll dice with Jamichael Green tomorrow against a very good Spurs interior. Mark Gasol, he's pretty consistent. He just played his brother 2 games ago as well. In 39 minutes, he only put up 32. It's just showing me how strong the Spurs are in the inside. So I'm going to use some caution against him. On the San Antonio side, Tony Parker, he needs about mid 20s, 15, 29, and 9. That's the last 3. He's not consistent enough. Shooting guard, Danny Green, needs low to mid 20s, 23, 15, 13. No consistency. Manu Ginobili is as consistent for 6 times value as they come. He needs just about 20. And then 23, 7, 20, 19, 26, 37. So he's a better pick than Danny Green. I don't think I'll pick either of them tomorrow. Kawhi Leonard needs about mid 50s. Um, he did that 4 games ago. And then, I mean, when the Spurs had some injuries, he took up the slack when LaMarcus Aldridge was out and whatnot. But now that they're healthy, paying 9K for Kawhi is just not something I'm willing to do. But something I am willing to do is pay 6.5K for Aldridge, okay? They just played Memphis. He put up in 34 minutes, 39 fantasy points. We need mid to upper 30s from him, and his last 4 totals have been 43, 33, 39, 33. So whatever was going on with him when his price dropped, I think he's out of it, and they still don't have him price right. In 2 games, averaging 33.4. He's averaging 35 fantasy points. Even if I get 35 from him tomorrow, I won't be too disappointed, and I know he can get me about 40 as well. So I'm gonna pull him over and strongly consider him for tomorrow. And then Paul Gasol and Deadman. Let's see what's going on with David Lee. So David Lee expects to suit up, so he's probable. 3 centers on the team, and I already got my 2 solid centers so far. So I'm all set. I'm all set with San Antonio. Okay. Finally, New York versus Portland. I normally don't consider blowouts when I play, but New York coming off of a back to back and suck the way they do, and how desperate Portland needs to make the playoff. I think they come out at home and just run this game out. But I'll break it down. I'm actually gonna probably try to get Nurkic. The way that I saw that these centers, I saw how DeAndre Jordan and so I'm gonna start on the Portland side, and I want to make a case for Nurkic tomorrow, right? And to do so, I need to look at the Knicks. Let's see who they've been playing, right? They've been playing Brooklyn, Clippers, Indiana, and Detroit. Brooklyn, Clippers. So Brooklyn plays and Clippers play, right? All right, let's see how these centers did against them. And then I'm going to look up that Indiana game. I want to see how Miles Turner did against them because I'm interested in picking on them. So, DeAndre Jordan killed them in like 25 minutes. 28 minutes, 34 fantasy points. So that's decent, right? And then Brooklyn, Lopez, 30 minutes, 37 fantasy points. So Nurkic, I like for sure tomorrow. And I have to choose out of three centers that I like in Nurkic, Lopez, and DeAndre Jordan. I have to choose two, right? And I'm gonna choose Nurkic only because of the upside. If you look at Lopez and Nurkic and compare them, Lopez will get you 40, 35, 39, 37, 33, 40, 40, 16, 39, 28. So he's in the 30s and he might hit just 40. Might hit just 40. And in a couple games where, everybody's due. Nurkic, on the other hand, 37, 43, 44, 39, 33. He had a 10-point game in a blowout against the Twin Towers. 81. You know what I mean? So I feel like Nurkic can get you whatever Lopez can plus more. And even in a blowout, I think Nurkic is safe, man. I'm gonna take out Lopez. I'm feeling Nurkic for tomorrow. I'm gonna make that switch. The way the lineup looks so far, man, it's yummy. You know what I mean? Point guard Lillard is a little too expensive. I need about 60 to be happy for him. 55, 62, 44, and 50. Now, if I get something similar to that, I'm not upset. It's just that, is it worth it to pay up from Chris Paul to Damian Lillard? I have the money to do it. Nine, yeah, I do have the money to do it. And then I'm stuck with Redick, Tucker, Nowitzki, Nurkic. But if it's a blowout, they're gonna not want to give him one. Nurkic, yes, because let me see. So who's the backup for Nurkic? Miles Leonard. I don't know about Lillard. Lillard is a good play tomorrow. It's just that he's too expensive. So, for example, if you give me 60, that's 6 times value. It's not really upside for that value. Everybody else in my lineup have decent upside. I mean, Chris Paul maybe not, but he's cheaper. He's a cheaper option, and they can literally give you similar numbers. So I'm gonna stay away from Lillard for that. Vonleh, we know, has been steady as a rock. If you want 20, which is 5 times value, and you want it guaranteed, 21, 22, 22, 24, 15, 19, 15, 8, 9, 11. I don't need to get that low tonight, so I won't, but we know what Vonleh can do. He's like a Kufos. I use him like I use Kufos. A starting big that will get you about 20. That's always 4K or less. I like to take advantage of that. Kufo's price actually has been coming up, but Vonleh's has not, and you have to try to take advantage of that if you're going stars and scrub. Um, Crab and Harkless, Evan Turner, all three of them are healthy now, so I won't pick on any of them. They all hit or miss. Crab can get you 22, 13, 25, 18. We need mid 20s from him. Harkless already gave me a 9-point game the other day. I'm so not picking Harkless ever again. He gave me a 7-point game when I needed just like 6 more points from him. He messed with my money. And Turner is going through something. He just came out from an injury. Hasn't quite been back to himself. McCollum is not a bad consideration against the Knicks. In 35 minutes, he gave us 30 fantasy points. He needs 40s. But as a shooting guard that has to hit his shots, look, 21 points, real points, 25 fantasy points. Some games he'll get you some assists and rebounds. He is like a flex point guard kind of guy, but I'm all set with McCollum for tomorrow. On the New York side of the ball, Derrick Rose seems to be getting consistent around 30, 30, 26, 24, 30. Not sure what he did today. Let's see. Derrick Rose today did 17 and 9 as well. 26, low 20s, right, with the turnovers. So Derrick Rose is not someone I'm excited about picking tomorrow. He's not consistent. Courtney Lee, neither. Just not consistent. Carmelo Anthony is not consistent. He'll get you 23, 35. We need 40s from him tomorrow. Porzingis has been consistent, okay? He's averaging 38 points, fantasy points, over the last 10 games. Against this team, he only played 39 minutes. He put up 46. And today, what he did, 24, 34, 30. Yeah, he had about upper 30s again today. So we can expect that every night from Porzingis, okay? Um, I'm willing to get rid of Dirk or Aldridge. I would say Dirk. Porzingis can get me into the 40s. Aldridge kind of lives in the third. I mean, Dirk gets you into the 40s. I'm not going to say he doesn't. 41, 44, and 40. But then he has 21, 20, 12, 29. All right. That's the last 10 games. Porzingis in the last 10 games. Let's go through it. 39, 26, 48, 45, 32, 25, 51, 31, 36, 18. And against this team, he already has a history. So I'm okay. I'm okay taking out Dirk and running some Porzingis in a favorable matchup. I like that idea. It'll be in a tough matchup. Today he played Utah with Gobert going off in a very tough matchup, and he still hit value. So why wouldn't he do it in a better matchup tomorrow? And even in blowouts, they're gonna run Porzingis. Now on a back-to-back, they may not run Porzingis in a blowout. It is risky. And the back-to-back is what making me thinking maybe Dirk, but I'm gonna keep Porzingis. Let me see some other. We know in blowouts they still play him. Let's look at his game log a little more in depth. So they lost by 15 to Cleveland. He only played 16 minutes. They won in Orlando. He played 33. Any back to backs? Oh, okay. So he played 40 minutes in Golden State and then went to Orlando and played 30 minutes. And then he struggled on that back to back. He didn't do as well again. In Detroit, he played 36 minutes and then came the next night and played 34 minutes. He went from 45 to he even had a better game to 48. So I don't think the back to back is going to really bother him. And he only played 31 minutes today. So I like Porzingis tomorrow. I'm definitely going to get Porzingis into my lineup. And Hernan Gomez is a waste of time. Against this team, 20 minutes, 12 fantasy points. We need upper 20s from him. 18, 13 has been his last two totals. And then he had a tough matchup today. I don't expect anything better. 9. Oh, he had a decent game. 9, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 4, 26. So he had 26, but I'm not going to clog up a center spot to get Willie Hernan Gomez in. It's just not wise. And this is it. This is my lineup. Chris Paul, J.J. Redick, P.J. Tucker, Porzingis, Nurkic, Barea, Aldridge, and Jordan. I feel pretty good about that lineup. If I can up on someone, who would it be? I really want to go up on Nurkic to Whiteside. I really want to do that, and I have just enough money to do it. And this would be even better for me. But I'm going to hold on to Nurkic. I think Nurkic is in a good spot. I'm going to hold on to Porzingis. Beret, I love. Aldridge is too cheap for his price. DeAndre Jordan, I love. So I got 4 decent bigs. I'm all about the bigs, man. Porzingis, Nurkic, Aldridge, Jordan. Barea is on his way up. Tucker is going to be in an increased role. Chris Paul is Chris Paul. So I guess Redick is the only one that's expendable here, in my honest opinion. I'm not picking Patrick over Redick. Josh Richardson. Wesley Matthews over Redick? Nah. Wesley Matthews been too all over the place. Though I must say, if Seth Curry doesn't go, I might consider Wesley Matthews over Redick. Can't guarantee it. Didn't really know. So Redick is pretty safe, man. I like Redick. I like this lineup, and I'm willing to leave $800 on the table tomorrow to get this lineup going. So when news drop tomorrow, I had a good day today. I don't think I'm going to the casino tomorrow. So I'll definitely be home all day tomorrow. I'm gonna be all about basketball. This lineup looks good. I like it, and let's see how it goes.